or join. If you had colleagues who weren't able to join, they'll be able to access this in another time. So thank you all for joining this webinar on 2 new programming initiatives brought to you by Baker and Taylor, the Highlights Activity Bingo program and the B&T Virtual Book Club program. I see many familiar names and faces on the meeting today, which is lovely. For those of you who do not know me yet, my name is Bobby Benzer, and I am the Eastern Regional Manager for the Children's and Teen Services Department here at Baker and Taylor, which many fondly know as CATS. I'm excited to introduce these 2 new programs, both of which will resonate well with young patrons certainly, but are also definitely for adults as well. Before I begin, I just want to thank you all for taking the time to be here today. We realize everyone's schedules and responsibilities have been thrown out of whack due to the pandemic, and we really appreciate you joining to learn how we can support your goals with patron engagement and outreach. I hope you are all safe and well, and that your communities are doing okay during this challenging time. My plan is to run through each program and take and answer questions after each segment. If you have a question, please just jot it down for the designated question time, or enter it in the chat box and I'll look at it when that time comes. That way, in case you're like me and you forget, you'll have it jotted down and ready to go. I'm 8 months pregnant, and so I'm forgetting a lot of things myself these days, so I totally understand. I'll begin by saying that these 2 programs can certainly support and supplement in-person at the library programming when the time comes and you're welcoming patrons back into the library for that sort of thing. But they are at their core programs intended for the virtual and remote user experience. And as such, both feature access to multi-user ebooks and a variety of supporting activities, in some cases events, and marking material that you can share with your patrons. One of our goals as a company has been to create more innovative resources to support libraries with community outreach and engagement, particularly in this realm of virtual realm. And we were actually working to bring these 2 initiatives to market before the world turned upside down earlier this year, as they were relevant then, but now with virtual programming being in many cases the only option, we know that having affordable turnkey programs is even more valuable to you. And support from customers like you will help in our continued effort to make a case with publishers for more partnerships and more affordable ebook licenses for public libraries, which we've been able to do more and more. And we're able to do with these programs specifically with the multi-user access ebooks that are involved. And another cool thing is, as you're about to see, is that these programs are available to your library, whether you're a current digital customer of ours or not. So I'm going to start with the Highlights Activity Bingo program. What's been really fun about this program with libraries so far are the anecdotes and the nostalgia that's stirred up whenever I bring up the Highlights brand. I'm sure if I did a poll on here, most of us would say we've read these magazines as a kid, either at the doctor's office or via a subscription, and that we pored over the puzzles and activities like Hidden Figures. Highlights is a trusted name in the world of children's content and has prided itself on bringing family fun since the early 40s. We have 2 people joining us, so I'm just gonna let them in. Right. So here we are in our current world where social distancing is the norm in many families, and generations are at home together. And more often than not, many parents, grandparents, guardians have exhausted their options for entertaining the children in their lives, or they may have also exhausted their tools, in their arsenal for home-based learning experiences. But the kids are still home, families are still home together. TV has its place, of course, and so does playing outside. That's super important, but what else? And what about the fall? Some kids may be going back to school, but many may not. I know that in Broward County, Florida, where my mother is an elementary school teacher, they have been told that they will be doing remote learning for at least the first 9 weeks of school. One of my, so we're kind of in this predicament, and one of my colleagues, Fred, yesterday cleverly put this as the at-home slide. Many of us are familiar with the summer slide, which is the tendency for children to lose learning achievement gains from the previous school year during the summer. And here we are in a situation where that might be extended into the next year, unfortunately. So how can we as library professionals support all of these variables? And that's what the Highlights Activity Bingo program attempts to do. This is a package of over 190 multi-user ebooks and an assortment of activities presented in a fun, engaging bingo format geared towards ages toddlers to tweens, ages 2 to 12. And this supports recreational reading and play and also complements home learning. It's something that the whole family can get in on together or something that a child can do independently. This program was designed in partnership with Highlights with input from the CATS team and spearheaded by our director, Jill Faraday, who was a longtime children's librarian herself. So we kind of brought our experience programming and our knowledge of the books with a trusted brand so that families at home who were confused about how to entertain or engage their children, we wanted to make sure that they had a turnkey option in order to spend their time and something that you could easily bring to them. A little more about the books themselves. The program includes 192 individual ebooks with multi-user access. What this means is that any child or patron can check out any of the books simultaneously with no caps. This is huge. You may hear a B&T employee call this MUPO access from time to time. That's what this means. The books are from the Voices, Readers, and the Read with Highlights series, both of which are leveled via Lexile. There's fiction and there's nonfiction, which supports recreational reading and home-based learning, curriculum tie-ins. And they're also all inclusive of diversity, diverse characters and experiences. And they are also inclusive, importantly, of many of the building blocks and pillars of social emotional learning. Things like building empathy, managing emotions, making positive choices and decisions, all things that were important before and are even more important now as children may be feeling more vulnerable in this time, and parents attempt to have tougher conversations with them. When building the list, we were also mindful to include titles that would align with the 2 national summer reading themes, CLSP and iRead. We did this because originally this launched for the summer, and the program itself is viable and has incredibly long legs, as you're about to see, lasting into the fall of next year. So you have the ability to launch it now, use it throughout the year, the school year, into the winter, spring, and even implement it into next year's summer reading programs at the library. I believe the collaborative theme next year is Tales for Tales, so animal-based, and the iRead is color, reading colors your world. So it also an emphasis on diversity. Each library that opts into this program will receive the 192 ebooks that I just discussed. And if you need more information about the individual books themselves, I'm happy to share that information offline. And again, these books are geared toward ages 2 through 12. And I just want to emphasize multi-user access. So these books, no kid will not be able to or family member will, no patron will be not have the ability to download these books and check them out and read them. There is no cap. Anyone can go in at the same time and download these and read them for your for the loan period. After September 30th, 2021, so that's how long the multi-user access lasts. Excuse me, there's a couple more people that are just joining now. I want to let them in. After September 30th, 2021, if you're an Access 360 user and you have our platform, which is what this is powered by, you will keep those books for perpetuity, forever, as single user access. So you buy them once, you get them for multi-user for a really long time, 13 months, and then after that you get to keep them and still promote them, but they will revert to single user access. I just also want to say that you do not need to be a current digital customer of ours to participate, although we do encourage you to inquire about Access 360. Long term, we are committed to helping as many libraries as possible use this program. So we are going to get you set up quickly and easily if you're a non-Access user for the duration of the program, which is the next, as I said, the next 13 months in multi-user access. Without any additional fees or anything like that. So for the program itself and for these books, you will not need to do anything other than opt in, and we'll take care of you. Another distinguishing feature and something that's really exciting about this program are the activities involved. So there are 12 themed bingo cards, providing secure access to puzzle games, activities, all related to the stories. And the way that patrons get access to this is through the ebooks themselves via the title page or at the end of the book, which I'm about to show you. So a couple important things. These activities are not recycled material. They're new and exclusive to the program. There are 12 different bingo cards, each with a different theme, as you're about to see. And we did this to kind of help you at the library develop some sort of structure if you wish to create a formalized program around all these materials. Some of the early adopters of this program, as we launched it pretty recently, but there are some libraries who have already opted in, and they have chosen to either do a 12-week program where the librarians are promoting a different theme each week online and encouraging their patrons, their young patrons, to read the books that align with that theme and to do the bingo card that aligns with that theme. Some are taking it and doing a 12-month program where there's a theme every month. Some libraries aren't doing any, have decided not to do something so formal and are instead are just kind of putting this material out there into the world and encouraging their patrons to go at their pace and do their own thing. So again, flexibility was key here in designing this, and we hope that you can see that as we move along. Perhaps the best way to show this is by actually demoing the user experience. And so at this time, I think I'm going to turn my video off just to, so there's no extra distractions. And I'm going to play what the user experience will look like. So here we are on Access 360, our digital platform. And if you're already a digital customer of ours and use Access 360, this should be very familiar to you, although it probably is branded more for for your library. At the top here, it will have your library name. You have the ability to, which is really cool, create like mini collections or featured lists rather, what we call magic walls, quote unquote, at Baker and Taylor, to put different books together. I'm gonna press play here. So, okay, so here we are on the home page. Boy, why is it not working? Okay, here we go. Sorry about that. So we're gonna go with the featured list and we're gonna click on highlights bingo. You can also choose to have that the first thing you see. Here I am, the patron, seeing that there's 192 results. I just love these books. I think that they, something for every kid. I love that there's illustrations and live photos. Something that kids respond really well to. They're just quality content. As the patron, I've decided to read From a Treehouse. Check it out. Again, no obstacles here, simultaneous use. I've decided to read it now. I can choose to read the book, or I'm prompted right there on the title page, hey, when you finish reading, check out the bingo activities. Or you can go straight into bingo. Obviously, there's no policing here. I'm reading the book. At the end, okay, I'm ready to go into the bingo program. I'm taken to the exclusive secure landing page that highlights created. I just want to speak to the fact that there's currently some summer verbiage associated with the bingo cards and the landing page here, which we're currently taking off and that will be off by the end of the month. Again, this started as a summer program. It can certainly be used for next summer, but there's plenty of time in between to use it, and the summer is no longer relevant. So we are taking that off in case you see it. Here are the 12 themes. Now, if a child's just read a book, they're probably going to be inclined to go into the theme that most aligns with the book they just read, or if a librarian is doing something formal and has formalized a program and has encouraged them to go into a certain theme, then otherwise they can go into whichever theme they want. Again, flexibility is key here. I'm going to go into the Pet Pals because I love this area. I got an adorable cat named Hades, which I'm happy to talk about anytime if you'd like. All right, Pet Pals. So a couple things to note here and when you go into the theme itself. The first area is where you can go into the actual bingo card. Then there are these other areas divvied up by age, for the different ages for the program, 2 to 4, 4 to 6, onwards. This is where if an activity requires a PDF sheet, like a puzzle or the Hidden Figures, or instructions on how to do one of the more maker activities involved, this is where all of those individual pieces will live. So you as a the families or the patrons, the young children can explore these areas. But what's really cool is the bingo card itself. If one of the blocks, if one of the activities requires anything, if you click on that block, it'll automatically take you to what you need. So you're gonna see that in a second. Okay. Okay. So I'm gonna go into the bingo card. The bingo card has 5 rows, 5 columns. As you go down the bingo card, the activities become more challenging. Different columns address different things as well. The first 2 align with the books themselves. So they ask the patrons to refer to the books they've just read. The 3rd and 4th are more maker-based. And the last one speaks to one of the pillars of social emotional learning we just talked about. So being kind, for example. You just saw too that there are instructions, very comprehensive instructions for children and their families to read through together before getting into the thick of it. I'm going to pause so that you can just kind of see some of the activities here. Which are really fun. And all the bolded things means that there's a PDF associated with that you're going to need to look at. Like, for example, here is how to make this cute dog treat canister, which I believe Jill did with her children. So a lot of libraries that have already opted into the program, some are planning on printing some of these out and putting them in their curbside bags if they're doing curbside right now. Others are mailing them home to different patrons or have them at the circulation desk, or they're encouraging their patrons to print them out at home to complete bingo and then share with them either via email or mailing them in. Some librarians are planning on doing a once a week or once a month recorded or live programming hour where for a certain age group where they can come in and they can do the activity together, like building that dog treat canister, etc. So the options are endless, and I've had a lot of fun listening to how libraries are taking the materials and making them their own. And I'd love to hear how you plan on using the materials as well. Want to pause to just share again the different themes. Pet pals, ocean life, celebrations, great outdoors, travel time, things that go, construction, outer space, farm fun, garden bugs, wild animals, and friendship. So it's obvious to see how this could fit into recreational reading and learning pillars as well. Pausing a little bit more on that bingo card that I went through the recording, and also that instruction guide as well. There it is, Hidden Figures, my favorite. More activities. Word search. Just really fun stuff. One library even talked about putting the materials for this specific activity in their curbside bags as the launch, so that kids wouldn't even have to find the materials. I thought that was pretty cool. And another thing, you know, as you can see, this is obviously a really great option for remote and virtual, you know, programming. But when the time comes and you're able to have patrons back in the library, it'll be easy to kind of incorporate a lot of this into in-library programming times, especially if you already have like sort of a maker hour or something like that. All right, so I'm gonna end by saying, so now you see what the bundle includes, the cost. So as this program includes close to 200 multi-user ebooks through September 2021, the cost is based on population served by your library. We researched the average circulation for multi-user access for ebooks like this to determine an estimated per circ cost for the program in a way that it could remain incredibly affordable to you, pennies on the dollar. And it's all to receive the ebooks themselves, the platform, if you don't already have it, and all of the activities and the supporting material. So if you're interested in a quote, we'd be happy to verify your population served and provide that to you. Upon opting into the program, you will receive a welcome packet with resources for promoting everything to your patrons, graphics that can be used as widgets to send them to the landing page with books, which again is powered by Access 360. And again, if you're currently an Access user, you've already got this down packed. And if not, we'll walk you through the process. There's no setup fee, service fee through September 2021 for this program specifically. And we'll just provide you login credentials that you would share with your patrons. It's sort of like a repository site. And something that's really cool, this is a limited time offer. If you are planning on doing something formal where you're going to ask your patrons to complete bingo and then send it into you, perhaps for a prize, Highlights has offered us the opportunity to sell you High Five magazine and Highlights for Children magazine in bulk at a bulk discount. So for minimum orders of 200 units, you're pretty much getting each unit for 75 cents on the dollar, and I think normally these retail for about $4.99. So it's quite a deal, quite a prize. I know I had High Five. I read High Five when I was a child. I'll probably get it for my baby girl who's due pretty soon. So I think that's pretty cool. These are the prices for that, and offer expires August 30th. And you would just let us know how many you want, and we would get them to you. Some of the libraries that have already opted in are choosing to put those in their curbside bags or use them as prizes. And one last promotional tool we are offering is a printed bookmark, which you can, again, put at circulation desk or in curbside bags so that folks know that this program exists and that how fun it is. I'm excited to hear how it goes for all of you. I know that your patrons are probably gonna just love seeing your library associated with such an iconic brand. These are the next steps for moving forward. If you are interested, please let me know so we can provide a quote to you based on your population size, or reach out to your Baker & Taylor representative. Once you've opted in, we will load the titles and provide you with a welcome packet so you can promote the program to your patrons. And remember, any library can participate. And so we're really excited to work with you on this. Also, if you are a current Access user, you know that you're able to kind of track circulation and get that data on an administrative, there's an administrative part of Access where you're able to kind of see circulation rates and all that stuff. You'll be able to do that as well if you're set up for Access. And so that's kind of cool to be able to get those sort of statistics. And of course, all these additional circs are sure to benefit you in the end with budget and things like that. Okay, so at this point, before we move into the book club, which I'm equally as excited to talk about, we have a couple minutes if anyone would like to ask a question. I did mute everyone at the beginning. I thought that was probably the best way to go, but everyone has a microphone and can unmute themselves before asking a question. I'm also going to just quickly look at the chat bar. Oops, sorry. Okay. Okay, there's lots of questions. Okay. So I've recorded this, and I can certainly try to share that with everyone. That was one question. The question about ebook licenses, does that extend to use by librarians of virtual story times or other programs? You can use these books for story time if that was the question, yeah. And if I don't know the answer to something, I'll certainly get it to you guys after. I'm planning on sending a follow-up email with any questions not answered right now, and some other stuff as well. So there's quite a few questions too, so I don't want to take up too much time. There was a distinct question about the books, individual books. I'll make sure to answer offline, certainly. There was a question about multi-user access. How many patrons can check these out at the same time? Yeah, that's what that means, no waiting. As many people can check these out at the same time, yes. There was a question about who have adopted the program. I can make sure to include some of that information, or see if I can include some of that information in the follow-up email. They were pretty recent adopters because we just launched this program, so they might still be getting into the thick of it, but there are some, the ones that I was personally involved with and know to date were some larger systems in Florida, and et cetera. So I'll make sure I include that information for that as well. Okay, someone said their question was answered, so that's good. Okay, it looks like I answered some folks' questions while I was talking, so that's great. But I will make sure to thoroughly go through this chat box before the end, and I don't want to discourage anyone from taking their microphone off right now too. So if anyone wants to talk, please feel free. We have another minute, and then there's going to be another question session at the end too. So please.
Bobby,
Yes.
my specific question about story times was when we have a pre-recorded story time and we're using the material, we usually reference the publisher and so forth and so on. And in our case, I'm with DeKalb County Public Library in DeKalb County, Georgia. The video stays up for a very limited amount of time, and then it's taken down. And that was what my question was in terms of the fact that it's pre-recorded. Well, let's say we use material of any kind, or let's say we decide to do the craft on one of the bingo cards, and we reference that that's where the idea came from. That was my question. Was it's not a in-person program, for example, but it's actually
it's not live. It's recorded. It's my understanding that's perfectly okay.
Okay.
As long as you do acknowledge highlights.
Okay.
Please do look for my email at the end, and I will confirm that. But that,
thank you.
I understand. A library, I believe it was Marion County in Florida, who has adopted it. I apologize if it was a different library, had asked if they could, or rather it was a different library, sorry, I'm all over the place. They had asked if they could take some of these bingo cards and put their own library's branding on them too. That's something you can do as long as you don't cover up the highlights portion of the logo. So yeah, there's some flexibility there.
Thank you.
Kim, do you still see my PowerPoint or no?
No, I'm not sure what I'm doing. Sorry.
No, it's not your fault. It's mine. That was me. All right. So.
Oh, yeah, I see it.
All right. So now we're going to segue into the book club. Thank you for your questions, and hopefully I've addressed them. And if not, I will certainly at some point. Okay. So another program that we're really excited about is the book clubs at the library B&T Virtual Book Club program. This is another instance where we're going virtual patron engagement, and yet another instance where you can participate whether you're a current digital customer of ours or not. We're trying to make this easy peasy for you. This is something that libraries have been asking for a long time, and another way to gain support from publishing partners for these multi-user ebooks, better licenses for public libraries for ebooks. We've launched this program in partnership with Source Books, who publishes many recent and current bestsellers, and they've been a great partner. Our hope and intention is to expand this with other publishers. We have launched this program for the adult and teen audiences, but we're also working towards a juvenile book club as well, which is imminent and which will most likely include an interactive component. There are some great titles lined up for this program to date, as you're about to see. Many fun mysteries, a fantasy title, and many literary reads ideal for conversation starters for groups and families about many topical issues. Once you've bought into either club, adult or teen or eventually children's, or all, for a month, you will have access, skipped a page, hold on. Sorry, guys. The B&T Virtual Club, I should also mention first, is a monthly offering of book clubs for different audience levels with an emphasis on virtual components, access to the featured titles, as well as supporting materials like discussion guides and an exclusive live virtual event which patrons can tune into. The events will be at the end of a title's featured month, giving any patron who wishes to participate and watch the opportunity to read the book first. The live events will more often than not feature the author, which is really cool, but could also include the editor or a different professional that was involved with the book, and will also include high-profile moderators, making for a really fun, engaging experience. There's a very easy enrollment process for you, the library, to participate. Quote unquote, buying in for each individual club is done ahead of the featured month, ideally a couple weeks before, via a website we've built specifically as a resource to you, which I'll show you in a second. Once you've bought into the club, either adult or teen or eventually children's, or all for any particular month, you'll have access to digital graphics and a video to promote the title via your website, newsletter, and social media channels. Access to the live event online, and you'll also receive all the multi-user e-copies and or physical copies of the featured title to support reading and club participation amongst your patrons. So it's a big package with the books and all these supporting materials and the big live event at the end of the month. Monthly, and there's different audiences. You can choose to participate in any club, any month of your choosing, and our hope is certainly continued participation, but you can dip in and out however you like. Again, any library can participate, whether you're a current Access 360 customer or not, though we certainly encourage interest in Access 360. You have the option to purchase ebooks. These are also multiple user access, just like highlights. So any patron can go in simultaneously and check it out, and or physical copies of the books in order to participate each month. For digital purposes, our goal for a promotional period of the next few months is to keep the cost of each club to a very low $99.95. So what this means is you will purchase a quantity of ebooks of the featured title, resulting in a total of around that $100 benchmark. And in exchange, you will receive those e-copies in multi-user access for the featured month and all the trimmings, which again includes access to the exclusive live book club event, which patrons can pre-register for, or just show up the evening of. Either way, we're going to give you a link to promote access to your patrons. And what's really cool is the first 10 libraries to register for each club each month will get to submit a question for the authors to answer on the night of the event. This could be a fun way to engage your patrons during the book club month itself. Like, you can ask online, like, what do you think we should ask the author? Which would be kind of fun. After the event, access to the recorded book club event will be available to share with any patrons who are not able to attend it live. And you'll also have access to a book discussion guide download, which you can promote to your patrons. And you will again receive graphics that you can use to promote the event and the club on your social media channels and in your newsletters or on your website as a sort of widget. If you're already an Access user, you can enroll on our book club website, which is, the URL is right here, bookclub.baker-taylor-site.com. So you can enroll for the book club and then purchase the qualifying copies on TitleSource 360. These e-copies will go right into your collection, and then you will have access to all those materials I just talked about right there on that website, which you can download and then use to start promoting. If you're not currently an Access 360 customer, we have created a repository website to send patrons to, where they'll be able to download and cache the ebook for a loan period. And just like Highlights will issue a unique login credential to each library. And we'll also provide you with access information that you can then share with your patrons. I also mentioned that you can opt into this program by purchasing a qualifying number of the physical book, which we recommend doing anyway as a supplement, not necessarily instead of, because there is a great virtual experience here, but purchasing a certain number of the physical book is an option for buy-in at this time. And a B&T rep can answer any questions you may have after you fill out the enrollment form for the month. That URL, okay, that microsite URL for the Baker and Taylor Book Club, where you can register every month for any of the clubs, the adult, teen, and hopefully soon the children's. What that will take you to is this page. This is what this looked like for our July launch. It looks a little bit different now, but essentially this is not patron facing. This is for you, the library, to learn what our current and next titles are for the program. It's where you can sign up for the next month and where you can gather the marketing materials you'll need once you've signed up and bought the qualifying copies. This was our first title in the program, the July launch, The Last Flight by Julie Clark. And as you can see here, this microsite includes a little bit about the book, as well as the resources for marketing the club and info on the author event. The live author event with Julie Clark is actually tomorrow, July 29th at 7 p.m. I'm going to share the link for registering in just a moment, and I'll include it in the follow-up email as well in case you'd like to check it out yourself to get a feel for what these events will be like. Patrons and anyone who has the link, you can pre-register, like I said before, you can go in night of, so. This is what the repository site will look like, where you'll send patrons to access the book if you're not currently an Access 360 customer. Again, there will be no limit to the number of simultaneous checkouts during the featured month. If you're already an Access 360 user, yours will look a little different. Just like I mentioned during the highlights portion, you know, it'll be branded for your library as it normally is, and you'll be able to create a book club featured list, featured section that you can promote to your patrons. This is an example of the landing page for the live event itself, what I was just speaking to a moment ago. This is patron facing, and it's what you'll be able to share with your patrons so they have access to the live event. Up until showtime, there'll be this really cool countdown clock-like feature, which I just love. And patrons can either register there on the spot or they can sign in right beforehand. And what's really cool is we'll be able to share stats with you on patrons from your library that joined, patron participation. So you'll be able to know how many folks attended the event from your library. These are examples of the social media graphics that you'll be able to download from our microsite to promote the month's club. A best practice would possibly be to create an area on your website where all the supporting material for the book clubs live, the PDF of the discussion guide, the links to access the ebooks and the live event itself, and have all of these graphics act as a widget on your website somewhere, sending the patron to that area. Or you can use them in your social media or newsletter. As you see, they come in many shapes and sizes. Also, I should say I'm so excited that we're launching our teen book club. It's the August Teen Book Club with Kimberly Jones and Gilly Siegel's I'm Not Dying With You Tonight. I'm sure many of you are familiar with this book. A bestseller for a while now, which the two wrote together, and talks about race relations and two girls, one black and one white, who come together and have to navigate a night together when their world is essentially turned upside down due to some race riots in their town. And it's just incredibly written. Kim Jones has kind of been everywhere recently in light of the Black Lives Matter movement, and she is amazing and so prolific. And if you haven't seen her interview with Trevor Noah or any of the videos that have gone viral, I just highly recommend looking into them, and I can't wait to see her live event. I think it's going to be with Jilly. I think it's going to be amazing. So very excited that we're launching with that. And then I also just recorded a quick demo of what you, the library, will go to sign up on a monthly basis for any of these clubs, right? The Baker and Taylor microsite that we created specifically for the book clubs. It now looks like this because we're at the end of July, so Julie Clark's book is behind us now, almost. So we have the adult book on one side, the teen on the other, and a little bit about the book club program. You can choose to go in either one. Here's a little bit about The Rat Began to Gnaw at the Rope. C.W. Grafton is actually C. Grafton's dad, which is pretty cool. So it's pretty comprehensive there. It tells you about everything you'll get after enrolling and being invoiced. You'll be able to then have access to, these social graphics, the author video, discussion guide, the link to the author event, all that you can promote to your patrons. So again, one-stop shop, easy peasy. We're very excited. All right. So I'm going to end by just talking a little bit about we have the books throughout the rest of the calendar year. The August book club for adult is continuing with this theme, Murder at the Library. There's 2 featured titles, and a qualifying purchase is described here. 5 e-copies of The Rat and 1 copy of That Affair Next Door. And again, if you're interested with the qualification for physical copies instead, just let us know. The Teen Book Club, I just spoke a little bit about it. I'm Not Dying With You Tonight, and that is 5 e-copies. And again, that's resulting into a very low $99.95 for each club for access to all these things and the multi-user ebooks for the month. And just like highlights after the month, the book stays in your collection it just reverts to single user access. Looking ahead, September, October, and November, December, for the adult club, we have Bluff, which is a noir crime thriller, which won the 2019 Dashiell Hammett Prize for Literary Excellence in Crime Writing. This is where it ends. It's a teen pick. It centers around a high school shooting, essentially minute by minute. It's a beautifully written book and got tons of accolades from the journals and the media. It's a tough book for sure, but an important one. When we were originating this program with Source Books, the teen book club actually began as a parent teen book club. The idea was to bring families together so that to read books together, which on topical relevant issues, so we could talk through them together. So that's one of the books. And I'm Not Dying With You Tonight, that's where that came from. Of course, these books also have crossover appeal, so adults may enjoy reading them as well and enjoy checking out the live event. But they are for the teen market, quote unquote. So that's the teen book for the month. For October, we have Caroline Cooney's, one of my favorites, her latest bestseller, Before She Was Helen, an absorbing mystery where a retired woman must confront her past in her small retirement community in South Carolina. For the teen club, we have Radium Girls, which was a New York Times and US Today and Wall Street Journal bestseller, perfect for fans of Hidden Figures, historical nonfiction about a group of women fighting workers' rights in the early 20th century after cluelessly working with radium for years. There is now a young readers edition meant for 9 to 12-year-olds, so the whole family can really get involved in this one. We have The Devil in the Dark Water, which is sort of like Stephen King horror, Sherlock Holmes detective stories, and Pirates of the Caribbean. It's a really unique murder mystery on the high seas. If you mashed all those things together, that's what you get, The Devil in the Dark Water. And The Dark Tide is the November-December teen pick, a gripping dark LGBT YA fantasy about two girls who must choose between saving themselves, each other, and their stinking island. So something for every reader, all bestsellers. The books are just awesome. So the next steps here, if you'd like to give us a go, please let me know and I'll send instructions. Or you can also check out our microsite again, which I briefly demoed and discussed. I'm going to pause here so you can write down that URL. But again, I'll make sure it's in the follow-up email. And once you have enrolled and purchased your qualifying copies for the club, you'll be able to start promoting the title and the live event using the materials and we went over. And it's as easy as that. Questions on this program. And in the follow-up email I send out, we actually have some questions for you guys because we want to make sure that we make these programs as comprehensive and as user-friendly as possible. Questions like, are you already doing virtual book club programs or virtual maker programs? Are you interested now or in the future? When it comes to the book club, are you, what kind of books are you interested in? So things like that. So now if we look at the chat box again. All right. Okay. Okay, so I was asked how soon we can expect to have the children's Additions, I believe hopefully before the end of the year, but I actually don't know the answer to that question, and I don't want to be premature in answering it. So I will make sure to jot down your name, Susan, and make sure you directly know. But I'll also put any updates I have in that follow-up email. I also believe we may or may not have someone from Baker and Taylor on the call right now who is involved in this, and if they are, I welcome their input by unmuting themselves. But I will find out for you. Denise from Hartford, if you want to clarify your question, how many copies do you decide? I think that was referring to the book club and not the highlights, but if you can just let me know. If it was for the book club, it's the ebooks through the next few months at least, and when there's an update, we will make sure to let you know if you've been actively interested in this program and are talking to us about it. But for the foreseeable future, it is the number of ebooks that result in that $99.95 price. How many months in advance can we see what the monthly titles will be? Right now through the end of the year, as I showed you, and our hope is to accelerate this. There's still some moving parts, but we're working with Sourcebooks and other publishers every day, and hopefully our goal is to have a longer lead time. As of now, we have those titles set through the end of the year. And if you are interested in a program, we just encourage you to enroll and let us know and reach out to your rep, and we'll make sure you know as soon as we do what the titles will be. But we also encourage you to go to our microsite regularly, and we'll definitely post everything there as well. Will e-audiobooks be an option as well, or just ebooks? I believe at this time it's just ebooks, but I'll make sure to clarify that as well. How early can we get the patron-facing Crowdcast link? Once we have the books up on the website for you to register for, we should have all the supporting materials, including the link. We should be able to give you statistics on who joined the live author event. There was a question asking, can we work with you after the program to determine who participated from our zip codes for stats purposes? Again, you should be able to get circulation open rates for the books themselves, and we should be able to let you know who at the library, who of your patrons joined the live event. I am not sure if it gets as specific as zip codes, but I can get that answered for you. The cost is $99.95 for each club, plus the cost of the 5 ebooks. No, sorry, let me clarify. The cost is $99.95 for each club, and that's it. That is the cost to get those ebooks. And the quantity each month varies. In most cases, the quantity will be 5, which will equal that $99.95. So that's 5 ebooks. But remember, they also have multi-user access. So you're getting 5 ebooks that can be checked out simultaneously by multiple patrons. And so it's going to be a $99.95 or close to it. And that also gets you everything else. It gets you the supporting materials, it gets you the discussion guide, access to the live event that you can share with your patrons. So as of now, that's the price to participate for each club. That or close to it. Might be a little bit more depending on what individual ebook cost is. But that is our goal, is to keep it at $99.95 at least for the next few months. So if you're interested in giving this a go, we encourage you to try it now. Okay. If we are a B&T user but not Access 360, we can purchase $99.95 of the selected titles and print book, and this will qualify us as well. The print book qualification, it would be around that, but it might be, it's based off of the physical list price of the book. So you're trying to get to that $99.95, but yes, it's around there. And can we choose which months we want to participate? Yes. You enroll a few weeks ahead of time, get your materials, start promoting for the month, and you can enroll just for that month, not come back the next month, come back the month after that, whatever works best for you. All right, it looks like, to clarify, purchase of ebooks qualify the library for multi-user ebook access, whether your library is an Access 360 library or not. Yes, that is correct. Print purchases provide access to book club materials, but not ebook access. Exactly. Thank you, Bill SM, for asking that. That is exactly right. I'm gonna make sure all these questions are in the follow-up, in case I was going too fast or I didn't answer it well enough. Please come to me after. If you have any questions, please reach out to your Baker and Taylor field sales consultant or your enterprise sales manager. If you have any questions, we all want to help you. If you're not sure who anyone is, I'm happy to point you in the right direction or help you. Again, I'm Bobby Benzer. And before I end, I just want to make sure that no one wanted to go off mic and ask something on the microphone. Okay. So again, just to kind of recap here, two very unique programs, both with access to activities and or events, multi-user access ebooks at an affordable, all at an affordable price so that you can engage your patrons during this challenging time where virtual is everything, but also beyond that. And if there's any questions about the processes at all, it's hard to get it all in an hour. But again, please, I encourage you to reach out and ask questions. Please keep an eye out for my email, which will have all this in writing for you. And until then, please stay well and take care of yourselves and your communities. They're lucky to have you. Thank you so much. Oh, thank you, Kim. That's so sweet.